Good morning again, everyone, or evening. I'm going to start sharing the doc with agenda, some statistics. So I see that Leo, you were primary last week and Ryan secondary. Do you have anything to share about last week moderation and issue triaging?
I added
Not on my
one.
part. Yes, go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, sorry. I added one. It kind of seemed possibly like a unique to the user, but effectively I didn't look into it because I think it was just posted today or no, a couple days ago. I didn't get a chance to look into it, but the issue is saying that the art whenever the Argo CD server is bounced, it will write the secret value back into the secret. So like if you're using some of the templating logic to be able to say fill in this value into my webhook, it will actually put in the actual secret instead of just the templated out value. Um, I haven't got a chance to look into it or try to reproduce it, but it seemed I don't know, a little worrisome that the secret's getting added, and they have a little bash script or shell script there that shows kind of what happens whenever the Argo CD server gets bounced, and then their templated version gets uh, replaced with the actual secret value.
So the guess is we have this logic that replaces templates replace it with real values, and maybe we do it in place with a real Kubernetes secret and then saving it back.
Yeah, it could be something like that, or yeah, yep.
Okay, it's almost it's kind of security vulnerability report, not an issue. So maybe yeah,
Yeah, I agree. That's why I raised it. It didn't, that's what jumped out to me the most was, exposing these values.
I think if we really paranoid about security, we're supposed to delete it and convert it into CVE, and it would make process a bit more complicated. But I guess that would be the right thing to do, and then fix it, investigate and fix. Anyone else? Is it like overreaction? Anyone feels different? I think.
I mean, the issue is quite complex to read. So maybe if we confirm that it's really a security issue, we can do the
The
more complicated option.
Actually, one good thing about it, even if I think it's bad that Argo CD does it, but I think I didn't follow where is the template. I know template happens we reference those secret values in config maps, so I still didn't catch.
I think it's still in the secret, so it might not be as bad as we think because it is like you would still need to be able to get list and
One.
read secrets inside the Argo CD namespace.
Okay, then I would use it as excuse not to go for this rigid process because then it's kind of moving secrets from one place to another secret place. Oh, but that makes sense. So if we do this replacement of values in a secret, maybe we just need to have a missing copy somewhere where we need to copy the object instead of modify it. Yeah, thank you. I think it's
And that was the only one that really jumped out at me from this week. I think with everybody at KubeCon or a lot of folks at KubeCon, it was a quiet week.
thank you. I guess yeah, it's good to fix it, but doesn't even look like a high priority issue to me, and but definitely looks like a real bug. And Leo, I think you were about to say something.
No, I just said that I had nothing in the previous week.
Okay, in this case, we need a volunteer for the next week. to be a treasurer. So I'm going to deselect Leo and Ryan. Looking for volunteers who want to be primary next week.
Alex, I can join as secondary. I probably will not have a lot of time to monitor Slack, but I will review pull requests and so on. So,
Okay. Is it? I can join as secondary. I'm learning. I don't have much time as well, so I don't think it's against the rules to have two secondaries, but I still want to
yeah.
someone primary.
Okay, mark me as primary, Alex. I will try to find more time.
We'll see.
It's
Okay.
just, yeah. So,
we'll try to do our best, both of us.
mhm.
All right. Now we can switch to discussions. I see a topic from Cameron. I don't know if person is here, but I can. So there is I guess, a discussion about this issue, and I'm not sure if Cameron is here to present it. I could read it. Instead, I can just maybe keep going down, and then maybe Cameron joins later, and then we can talk about it still.
Yeah, I agree. I think we should move on. It's stated at the top of the document that the person adding the topic needs to be present in the meeting. So we can move on and maybe push this to the next meeting.
Okay. Good. Agree, Seth. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name.
Okay.
So, yeah, do you want to discuss your topic? Describe it.
So the original issue I brought up with the SIG scalability group,
Mhm.
and then so the issue is that it's doing a Redis scan when it's looking for revoked tokens, and when it does that scan, it's using the default amount, so it's only looking at 10 at a time, and so that involves a lot of chatter back and forth between the Redis instance because we have a lot of Redis tokens. And we don't have a lot of these revoked tokens. We actually have none. But the way that Redis works is it's scanning all of the tokens, looking for the ones that start with revoked tokens.
Mhm.
So the back and forth takes forever. And during this time, there's a mutex lock on any API calls that is using an API token. And so our API would lock up entirely for up to 15 minutes sometimes. And so I made two changes in here. One is I bumped it up from the default of 10 to 10,000. I played around with some other numbers, but 10,000 worked fairly well, and we've been using 10,000 in our production for a while. And then the other change was just to try to move everything outside of the mutex lock, move that scan outside. And to do that while still to make sure we don't lose any data during that, I made a new variable, recent revoked tokens, that would keep track of the tokens since the last time we ran revoke. We did the scan,
Mhm.
and after the scan, we could slot all of those in.
And maybe I cannot remember. Do you remember when do we load revoke tokens? Is it in place or is it like in background periodically?
In background periodically, so it runs every hour.
Mhm. Oh, cool. So it's kind of like I think I wrote this code, but I forgot. It's like a watcher on tokens, like little informer, and
Sorry, what was that?
it's kind of like a little informer on
Yeah.
top of Redis, right?
Yep. Yeah, and there's a listener in there as well. So like when a new revoked token goes in, all of the APIs should get the event saying that one went in, but this one is just doing a is doing a clear and doing a refresh from Redis to make sure that everything's good.
And did I get it correctly that I think the most important change is that we only acquire a log when we already have data and then we're replacing, and before we would get the log, go into Redis, and
Yep, exactly. So now it waits till after it gets the data to do the lock, whereas before we get the lock, get the data, and that getting of the data takes a long time. Takes less time with it being 10,000 instead of the default of 10, but it still takes a chunk of time for us.
and this is, I think I mean, I could ask it during pull request. I didn't follow what this does.
Yeah. So what that's doing is that -1 is saying use the default, and for Redis the default is 10. And so it's the scan is scanning through every single key inside of Redis 10 at a time. So we say go get 10. Okay, I didn't find any in that. Go get another 10. Okay, I didn't find any revoked tokens in that. Go get another 10. Okay, and that goes on for a very long time.
Oh, okay. I think I didn't even know. So this pagination happens inside of this client, and we just kind of okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Although I'm curious, shouldn't there be like some kind of like map or set so we can do it in like O1 instead of like iterating through everything?
So there is a way to I don't know that. There is a instead of doing a scan, there's also sadd and scan, which is set add and set scan. But when you in Redis, when you're adding stuff to that set, it doesn't have a TTL. It doesn't have a time to live.
Oh.
And so then you have to add a whole bunch of other code to force it to have a TTL, and that seemed more complex.
So I wonder, can we just have like another table where a key is a token and like just for revoked tokens or something with TTL or whatnot? So we can just like do like key lookup instead of scan.
Oh, I think it's idea here. We kind of want to have this list of revoked tokens in memory, like available, and then API server frequently go into this map, and this thing maintains map up to date.
Oh.
So we didn't want to make a Redis call every time during login or like every API call.
Oh, okay. It's fine. If probably there are not too many like tokens, I think it's not a big deal.
Yeah, I think the problem is that scan itself, if there is a lot of keys, then it became slower. Yeah. To be honest, I think I'm like almost ready to just approve this change. I know that this exact same problem was solved in a separate problem so we had a cache of Kubernetes resources, and we had exact same issue. We had looking for a long running operation kind of, and then we just moved the lock, and performance change was very significant. And I think that is exact same change, and I'm hoping it looks very safe to me. Yeah. So I guess I can assign it to myself and review it after the meeting, because I think we just did it kind of.
Okay, great.
Thank you. I think it's awesome change.
Yeah, thank you.
I did not realize. I'm not sure. I'm curious. Just what is special about your setup that triggers this issue? I never heard of it. I see why it can break, but
So we have a very large instance of Argo. When we first ran into this problem, we had about 10,000 applications. We're now up to about 20,000. And we were getting, we have 4 million Redis keys in our Redis instance. And so even though we don't have any of these revoked tokens, when it would do this scan, it would have to scan through all the 4 million entries looking for the revoked token prefix. So
yeah, okay, it explains it. So maybe, I don't know, different. I mean, and this change fixes it, right? It's enough to.
Yep.
Because another approach would be to store to revoke tokens in different Redis with the Redis database to kind of reduce the scanning.
Yeah, that would work as well.
I just
I
asked.
just wonder. I just wonder whether the 10K constant of this page size, like I guess that for such a huge Redis, it probably makes sense. The question is whether we do want to put it as such constant or maybe as something configurable.
I think very typical. We kind of. It's a good point here. We create usually. I would recommend to create environment variable, but do not.
Right.
Environment variable with the same default -1, and then you can change it in your installation to 10,000.
When that was brought up in the SIG scalability, Crenshaw said that he'd prefer not to add more
More environment variables.
more environment variables.
I think we're kind of doing a compromise. Like we have official environment variable list in Argo CD. There's a config map, runtime params config map, and then sometimes there is a value that is not yet. Like we kind of worry that someone will have to.
I think we have to ask ourselves the question if is 10,000 gonna cause issue for smaller Redis instance or not? So if 10,000 doesn't cause issue for smaller instances, I think it's good to have 10,000 by default. Now, if we expose that as a variable, it only depends whether someone wants to go above 10,000.
Yeah, I agree with Alexander. It doesn't seem like probably not issues. Like if you just do a scan, like there seems to be a need that we may need to do like a full scan anyways. We just need the pagination. So if you like do less calls and like we get more data, like 10,000 is not like memory hungry or whatnot. So I think it's fine. Just keep it there like that.
If you go to the issue I ran it with a few different values. And that was on my local machine, which was very small Redis, down near the bottom. And it basically had sorry, keep going down. There. Yeah, this comment, I ran it. This was all testing on my local machine. I ran it with 2 million keys, 1 million keys, 7 keys. And then, so when it didn't have a lot of keys, it was able to just scan through quickly because it wouldn't bother with doing 10,000. It would just hit the 7. So I'm not a Redis expert, so I don't know if this fully answers your question, but I did try some different numbers.
Yeah, I think it's fine, and I think we don't need to expose that as an environment variable because I don't see the use case to make that configurable.
Yeah, I think the use case is like emergency situation for someone to reset back, but doesn't look scary to me as well. I know, at least I know one data point is this revoke token keys, they have CTL, so they disappear. And then only way to produce it is to revoke a lot. And I cannot imagine anyone. I cannot imagine this situation. It's like user would have to.
Yeah, so it's not actually having a lot of revoke tokens. It's having a lot of any keys at all. And that was the problem we run into is we have a lot of other keys in that database.
My question to you, Seth, is do you know what exactly the minus one means?
The -1 means use the default, and the default is 10.
And is it possible to configure Redis directly to change the default?
I'm not sure about that. Let me check.
Because if the Redis exposes this configuration, then it's a matter of configuring Redis, and we don't have to hard code 10,000 in our code base.
It looks like that is possible just from a quick Google search. So yeah, we could change that. I'd still like to put in the change to get it out of the mutex, but I could change that back to the default and just advise our
Honestly, I'm a bit divided here, but by looking those numbers, it seems to me that 10,000 is always better. Even in that seven, what was the test running there? So you had only seven records in Redis in a Redis database,
Yep.
configured with -1 and 10,000,
Yeah,
and the result was still faster.
Yeah. So the one difference is that it does cause other during the scan, it will cause other things to get blocked on the Redis side. So it can slow down other stuff, but we haven't seen any effect of that with I've been running.
Right. Yeah, it looks a little bit counterintuitive that paginating 10 at a time with seven records takes more time than when paginating with 10,000. So I'm not sure I understand those numbers.
When I was
But
getting
it,
when it was getting that small, I feel like it was getting affected by noise on my local machine if something else is running. If I was in a Zoom call or stuff like that, it would cause it to get.
right.
I know it's not the only scan, to be honest, that is. So maybe changing it in a Redis make sense when there is. I'm pretty sure there is one more scan.
I think I have a chart above that shows our Grafana charts when we changed to 10,000.
Mhm.
So you can see the top one shows the Redis requests.
Mhm.
So you can see giant spikes come in every hour where it would make a whole bunch of requests for just 10.
Mhm.
And that got changed to afterwards, it got changed to spikes in Redis duration. So instead we'd be seeing longer calls. And like I said earlier, I'm not a Redis expert, so I don't know if that's
Yeah, that.
how bad that is, if that's okay.
I just wonder, we have other issues we need to discuss in the document, and I think we have a path forward for this one.
Okay,
So,
yeah, we can do this last debate about Redis key in the pull request.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, thanks for reminding about Alexander. Nick is Nick here?
Yes, I joined. Yeah, we are having an issue with creating resources in a namespace when the namespace isn't already created. So the issue is that we're using Capsule for multi-tenancy, and it works in a way that when you create a namespace, it creates a role and a role binding, which creates the permissions inside the namespace to create the resources. So for example, a deployment or just a pod or service accounts or any kind of things. At this moment, we cannot create namespaces using the create namespace functionality of Argo CD, because the first thing it does is it does some validation on permissions, and that fails. So it tries to create the namespace. It can do that because it has global permissions to create namespaces. But then it tries to create the resources in the namespaces, and it cannot do that yet because the namespace isn't created. So the role on the role binding isn't created yet, which results in the validation to fail and nothing to be created. A solution would be to do a skip dry run, which is already available for the CRDs. So I created a PR which had this functionality, and that would solve the issue. So when you provide the skip dry run option to the sync context, it will check if this is set and then add the skip dry run functionality, which is already present for your tasks. So we extend this to all resources. I hope this is clear.
Yeah, I'm not asking questions here because we during KubeCon spoke about it. So
yes, true.
and then I kind of remember. I think I was, details that helped me to understand more is there was impersonation feature was used as well. So Argo CD actually uses system account inside of namespace, and before sync, this account do not have permissions to
True.
to apply all resources in the application. And then as part of sync, it creates a namespace, and that namespace then get system accounts from a project that I forgot. So there is a
capsule.
Capsule. So it's kind of it looked like a reasonable use case, but very, like I could not think of a reason to have like a first class support for it because there is a third party project and but still reasonable. And so I kind of we both agreed that skip dry run makes sense. And then we have this skip dry run on missing resource, which is idea that Argo CD do not attempt to validate resource if resource and the CRD is in the same application and CRD is missing and resource gives 404, resource dry run gives 404. And so this is kind of just more, it's just a blind skip dry run on the resource annotated with this option.
Yes.
Just curious, is there any way this could be worked around with sync waves?
I mean, go ahead, sorry.
No. The issue is that even when you use a pre-sync hook or use the pre-sync, it still fails because the first thing it does is validation, even if you use sync waves. So I've tried that, of course, using a pre-sync, but then at the same issue, sadly, because validation's the first thing it does, even before the sync waves kick off.
I think it looks all right, especially that the skip dry run on missing resources already there. I think it just really needs to be well documented on the limitation of this use case and why would someone configure that setting, because that's pretty much the only use case I'm thinking of. Like you create the namespace through the same Argo app and you won't have permission yet on that namespace.
True.
And I think I saw this PR and I meant to add a comment. Basically, we have options, and the reason is prune option has false value is because default is true. So we're pruning, and then here we're saying don't prune. And so for dry run, it's other way around. But what I'm saying is this has to be true, in my opinion. So we would be looking for annotation that says if dry run, and by default it's false, and we're switching it to true. And then I think the rest of the code makes sense to me.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, that seemed when we spoke about it, it seemed very straightforward. I was like, yeah, no objections to this feature, and I still feel this way. So if anyone else has objections, please speak up. Awesome, that was short. I can promise to review this because we spoke about it for like 30 minutes already, and code is written. And
Okay. Thank you very much.
thank you. All right. We've got one more topic in 10 minutes. Okay, a few more topics in 10 minutes. So Kanika, and yeah, you can
Yeah,
see.
I'm here. Hi. So, even though it's just my name on the topic, I also have Cheng, who is equally vested in this. So I think it has three PRs: 22531, 552, and 553. So they were upgrading the versions of some of the dependencies because they were working on some CVEs, and upgrading those dependencies also included upgrading the Go version to 1.23. That has already been taken care of in the master, but in the release branches. So there was a Slack discussion which was started, and we got a response saying that even when the upgrade to Go 1.23 was done in master, there were some breaking changes which were needed to be coped with, and also, so it looks like something. I mean, we're kind of looking for an approval on going ahead with this. I think some of the checks on the PR are expected to fail, but yeah.
Code gen validation will fail. Yeah, we have this.
Yeah.
So I guess we need a volunteer to review. I think it will help if do you want to discuss any of the changes, or is it just Go mode update?
They're all Go mode updates. No other change explicitly.
Didn't you mention there was some breaking changes? And I think I didn't follow what breaking changes mean.
So if you can open the so back to the agenda, do you see the Michael's comment which said that upgrading it to so just one, so I think it's 21748, this one. I am thinking it would need some kind of yeah.
Oh, look at the unit test at the end.
Oh, okay. So Zoom doesn't.
That's the goaling breaking change that is involved into updating from 122 to 123. So if we need to update to 123 in the previous release, we also need to modify this, or if you go deep on the Golang Go issues, they have some environment variable that can be set by default to disable the new Go behavior. But yeah, I think that's what Michael meant by this is more involved than just bumping the Go version.
So in this case, this unit test should be failing here as well, right? There is the test failure. So I know that check. So we mentioned that some the check's supposed to fail, and we only expect this to fail. Check nothing changed, and then unit test indeed is failing, and I think it's exact same unit test that Michael mentioned. Yeah. So. And then I see, in master we just changed it. So I guess in your pull request I would do the exact same change that we did in master.
Okay. So do you want me to make this change or just like, oh yeah, I think I can make that change. Okay.
Make this change.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Sorry, please go ahead.
No, that's it. Yeah, I was trying to say make a change in pull request, otherwise, if we merge it, then tests will be failing on the release branch.
And can you repeat which is the expected failure? Which is the
check changes to generated code, and this
okay.
it's been like that forever. We just unfortunately there is check related to manifests, and we never go bother to fix it. But that's the only test that's supposed to fail. So, and I don't know why linter fails. Lint.
Yeah, that was interesting. I don't know why it failed because it was passing locally, and I ensured that I was using the same version.
I cannot.
I think that I have seen cases where some of the linters work locally, and then
sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, but what is the error?
Yes.
I think we can run this and see exactly because there's no error mentioned there.
In Michael's comment, he also mentioned in order to clear lint, we will need to upgrade some tools like Customize and Helm. So that's also part of that big PR to upgrade to Go 123 in the master branch.
Okay, I think that's a good. I guess we don't know about linter yet, but does anyone know why we had to do this as well? Why did we have to update these binaries?
I think that's probably brought in by upgrading Kubernetes and Helm, these built-in tools.
Yeah, so those files, at least for Helm, I think, probably for Customize as well, they're automatically downloaded for each version. So if there was an upgrade to a Helm or Customize version, then those files get automatically downloaded during CI.
But yeah, maybe Alexander, maybe you know why checksum changed with the Golang version change. I cannot explain.
Yeah, it's something in Go. It's the long issue. But basically, I think, if I remember correctly, we can fix it by updating the code, or there was an environment variable that we can use to keep the previous behavior. And in my opinion, since these are release branch, we should keep the previous behavior and kind of set that environment variable. But you need to I don't remember exactly the Go issue, so you'll need to be familiar with it.
I just want to point out that we actually were having a similar discussion when there was a CVE that don't remember the Helm versions, 371, I think, that this version resolved the CVE, and we were having, I think, a very similar discussion whether we should actually cherry pick this change into the existing release branches. And we eventually decided that the particular bump in Helm version waits till Argo CD3, and we didn't cherry pick it into existing releases. So I think it's a pretty similar discussion, no? I mean, bumping Go version is like it's a pretty big change, right? Are we comfortable with cherry picking it?
I'm sorry, I cannot.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know. It seems like non-trivial change. That's what's a bit like scary. So it's like fixing CV requires some extra like bigger like more like global changes. I don't know. Technically, I think we probably shouldn't more than we should. But I'm curious to hear others' opinions.
I think I lean on the we shouldn't side unless this is like directly impacting or creating some vulnerability in the Argo CD code. I think we wait.
Maybe I can talk more about the CVE to to go into where was it impacting.
I'm curious, are you available on CF Slack?
Yeah.
Maybe we can discuss it there as well.
Yeah, sure.
Because I feel like anyone who approves it at least needs to know what CVE it's fixing.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess what I'm hearing is maybe we don't make any conclusions right now, but we can take this conversation on the Slack thread.
I think that's the best we can do. Or I mean, if we don't make progress in Slack, we would bring this up again in the next meeting.
Sure, sounds good.
Right. I see hands up, Yatan, so if I mispronounce your name.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, I see you.
Yeah, so actually, I have opened my first PR in the Argo CD project. So actually, I haven't added this in the document yet. If you have time, maybe just discuss about it just for 2 minutes.
Oh, we just we kind of run out of time, and I think we don't have time to start one more discussion. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. We can discuss about it in the Slack.
In the next meeting. And I think we run out of time, so it's time to wrap up for today. And thanks everyone for joining.
Thanks.
You again.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.